Welcome to Eye on the Illini. This is Mike Kegley with Kedrick Prince. Uh, Kedrick, I got to be honest with you. I really felt that we saw an Illini team that matured, despite maybe not having two players that I think are pretty good. Didn't contribute a ton in the second half in Stojakovic and Petrovic. Um, this team, man, when you get those two rolling, if they can play, if the rest of them play like that second half, this is a very tough team.
It's a very tough team, Mike, and you're right. You didn't get a good scoring outing tonight from Stojakovic, and he's a guy you want to see get going. I don't know if there's obviously some things that he's not doing that Brad Underwood doesn't like, and that's okay because he's too good of a player. The dunk was funny. I mean, I'm sorry, it really was. It just was, but I think they'll get him going, and they know they need him to move on. They had some timely shots tonight from some big people, and what a half. And I'm going to tell you, Illinois didn't rebound better the second half. They got 50-50 balls, and the long balls went to them. When you shoot a three like that, you have no idea where that ball's going to go. You just don't, and that's why they got it the first half. Now, when it was body to body, Illinois was much more physical in the second half. I'll give them credit for that. And the one guy I have to give credit to, and I texted to you guys, Ben Humrichhausen, I give them any points tonight or any field goals, but I'm going to tell you, he was the one guy on that team I watched who put his ass into another person to get a rebound. Everyone else tried to out-jump people, and that didn't work. So kudos to Ben. I mean, I know I want to see him score points, but tonight defensively on the block, he went after people. I have to give kudos to him, major credit, because those were timely blockouts, Mike.
Yeah, it was, and I will tell you the other thing is there is some luck when you're talking about getting those rebounds that are the long ones, but there's also some hustle to it. And I thought we saw an Illini team that was much more aggressive, much more willing to go after it hard. And I thought that made a difference, especially it seemed like in the last, 6 minutes, they seemed to almost get every single key rebound. And I do think, again, some real tough actions. And Wagler, he ended up with 8 rebounds, so he equaled his first half rebounds. Ivisic got Tomislav got 5, and I think he had 0 in the first half. Merkovich got a couple. So in the end, I thought we ended up with a team that was much better off. Let's go through the stats real quick for those people who were in their cars driving back from Nashville. Illinois' field goal percentage was 48, and they held Tennessee to 37. From a three-point percentage, Illinois was 39, and Tennessee was 30. From a free throw percentage, Illinois outshot Tennessee. Illinois was 57, which is horrible, but Tennessee was 44%. So thank you, Tennessee, for that. And if Tennessee fans are going to get frustrated, they can look back at those free throws just like Illinois could against Alabama and say, what would have happened had we made those?
Yep, you're right.
Turnovers, and this was what I thought was really interesting. Illinois had 6. Tennessee had 13. Young team. Illinois won the points off of turnovers, 8-5. Total rebounds, 46-31. You don't see a Brad Underwood team get out-rebounded a ton, and you don't see the gap that big very often. Defensive rebounds were 20-23, so Illinois was only down by 3. But offensive rebounds were atrocious, 11 for Illinois and 23 for Tennessee. Second chance points, 15 for the Illini, 22 for Tennessee. Bench points, 13 for Illinois, 24 for Tennessee. Points in the paint, though, Illinois 32 and Tennessee had 34. Fast break, they both tied at 5. Blocks, Illinois had 7. And that was obviously some nice advantage for the Illini. Steals, Illinois won 5-4. Assists were tied at 14. Illinois led for 31 minutes and 38 seconds of the game. For 5 minutes and 35 seconds, it was tied. For 2:34, it was a Tennessee lead. Illinois, Merkovich had 10 with 6 boards. Stojakovic was 5 with 2 boards. Boswell, 15 with 2. Ivasic, 16 with 5. Wagler, 16 with 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Rickhouse, 2 points, but 5 boards and had an assist. Jake Davis, 3 points. He was 1 for 1 from the 3-point range. Big Z was 8 points, 1 rebound. Petrovic was no points. And so when you take a look overall, I think, you saw it was a team effort. I thought Illinois did quite well. And then when you go, when you look at it, the team really ended up to be in the plus minus was very interesting with Ivasic and Wagler at 17, Boswell at 7, Stojakovic remarkably at 12, Merkovich at 14, Rickhouse was 0, Jake Davis was 3, Big Z was -4, and Petrovic was -1. Illinois was 11 for 17 on layups and 1 for 2 on dunk attempts. So sorry for going through there. In terms of block shots, people are asking about that.
I think
Ben Rickhouse had 3, folks. That is pretty impressive. Yep. 2 for Stojakovic, 1 for Merkovich, 1 for Tomislav. So a good night overall for the Illini, and really a second half that Illinois played quite well. And I think, if you look at that, Illinois jumped up to shooting 50% in the second half and moved their shooting percentage from the 3 up to 46. At the same time they did that, Tennessee dropped to shooting 32% from the floor, stayed at their 30% clip from the 3. And I thought that was a key. And Illinois was only 1 rebound different in the second half, 21-20. They were down by 1. So that huge 14-point rebound, most of it was in the first half, and Illinois ended up outscoring them 43-28. So from there, Ked, give me your impressions. We've kind of went through a ton of little things, but.
Sure, no problem. Hey, Zach, what's up? I see you gave me a big shout out. I'm going to tell you what, I wish one of our favorite Illini will be on this podcast tonight, because there's so many people are going to have their own opinion. Who was the best player, the MVP, why? We can talk Keaton Wagler, Colin Boswell. You can talk Zonomir. I have to give it to Tomislav tonight. And I'm going to tell you, if there's anybody on that team who should be buying a steak dinner for his teammate, it should be Keaton Wagler. The reason why I'm going to give Marcus Griffin credit, he has complained the entire season about a no post game. Tomislav gave you a no post game, which kicked out for threes for Keaton Wagler and Zonomir, because he looked better. I can't say the name. And Church Girl. Well, you're right. Tommy looks better. Sugar. Anton Sugar. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men.
Tommy looked better. And his shooting ability, and he gave Illinois a post presence, someone other than Merkovic. So I really like that, and I think that's why they got open looks. And they also made them. This is the same Illinois team that we see miss shots, and let's not pretend that that's not an issue. Tonight they make shots. And Tennessee's not a good free throw shooting team. What I liked about this, guys, there's going to be people who are going to say negative things and positive things. It's the way the world works. But this was a big signature win for Brad Underwood. Like it or not, people were upset last week because they got destroyed by UConn. They went to Tennessee, a neutral side, but should have been a home court side, but it wasn't. Brad Underwood was really appreciative of the fans that showed up. Rick Barnes said that to Brad. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe the way your Illinois fans travel." I've always said the Illinois fans are number one in my eyes when it comes to fan support. But so many, winners tonight. But I just think the key to me was the inside-outside game, and Illinois. I'm a luck guy. They got lucky to get some of those offensive rebounds because that didn't happen in the first half. You didn't see Illinois block out. The ball went to their hands. They just were in the right place at the right time. And if they would have blocked out the first half, this could have been a 15, 20-point win easily. I thought Illinois was a better team tonight, and that's saying something, Mike.
Yeah, well, here's how you know it was a good performance, because all of a sudden St. Dominic's Rosary is feeling more confident. I guess Purdue,
I saw that.
Purdue getting destroyed by Iowa State, which I have to admit surprised me as well. And Purdue did not look good today, but to lose like that on their home court was probably a very tough pill for them to swallow, because the Purdue fans, they have a hard time when Purdue loses, let alone at home, because
they lost, and somehow it's going to be my fault. That is one fan base I don't have anything to say about. I'm just telling you I don't. So I know you lost today, Purdue. I know it's my fault. Somehow you can blame me. You can go to Twitter. You can say something that I tweeted or whatever. But that is one fan base I'm telling you I'm struggling with. But you know what? It was a bad loss because they went to Alabama and won. And then today or this morning or afternoon, they lose at home the way they did to Iowa State. That's tough for the Big Ten. Michigan's rolling. Illinois is still in the hunt. I wanted them to go 2-2 with this stretch, and they got it. I didn't think tonight playing against Tennessee, I thought they'd be tough. And I said that at halftime. This is a must-win for them, because if you want to be considered one of the best teams in the country, you have to win some of these games. So I'm all for it. And they punched back. That's the thing, Mike, we need to talk about. In the second half, they were tougher. I can assure you, in that locker room, because we've all heard some garbage cans be thrown, and Brad's a tough guy. The second half, they competed, and Keaton Wagler, oh my gosh, on the big stage, other than the Big Ten championship in football, everybody's watching this game. If they're a basketball guy, I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for Kylan Boswell, because he played his butt off last week against UConn and had no help. If I had any negatives to say, Mike, you started the show with it. I'm a big Andrej Stojakovic fan. I think they're going to need him, and I really want to see that kid do well.
Yeah, you just got to get him. You got to get him on track. I feel confident he's got the talent. You just got to find a way to unlock it. I'll give Matt Stevens credit. He gave one good comment in our Illini guys text threads that we have going on. It seems like 9 days a week. But according to Matt, this is a really solid performance from Illinois. Playing Tennessee basketball is like trying to play Iowa football. They physically drag you into a mud pit and make you win ugly. And I think Matt, unquote, but I think Matt nailed that one about as perfectly as you can nail a description of a game. And I think the funny thing was, Ked, is Illinois, as the second half got longer, Illinois got more confident, and they became kind of like that avalanche where it starts with just a couple rocks, and then all of a sudden, as you get going longer, it gets bigger and more impressive. Speaking of bigger and more impressive,
Ben from House, what's up, baby?
We got Brad Sturdy walking around.
Still don't want to play Hummer, Ted?
Hey, Brad, I gave him his love, man, and the people listening will say it. That dude was a freaking warrior tonight. I don't give a darn how many threes he didn't attempt. He blocked out, because I know, Brad, you coach, you got to put your hiney into somebody, and dude was putting it, and he forced the officials to call a foul. And I don't know if you know it, I'm sure you did, because you have the same stats we do. He had 3 blocks tonight. He was huge.
Yeah, he was. He was really good. Brad Underwood at postgame called him the MVP tonight. Without taking a shot. Just goes to show how much you can impact a game without necessarily being, the leading scorer or whatever. I thought, but and I think you can call him MVP. I thought Ivasic and Wagler were also fantastic. Ivasic, scoring in the post, that was nice to see, taking advantage of mismatches.
See, I saw that.
And Wagler, he had taken 33s coming into this game. He took 11 tonight. some of that was, because it came to him. But I asked him, he said it wasn't something he's hunting for. Brad said he didn't say take threes, but he's got to be more aggressive. And when he gets that opportunity, he's got to knock it back because he's one of the best shooters on the team. There's no question. So it was really good win for Illinois. I thought defensively they were very good. If not for, they didn't rebound well, but they were very good defensively on the first shot. But the other thing that was impressive, and I tweeted this and I posted this, they scored 1.29 3 points per possession. Tennessee is consistently a great defensive team. So they scored 1.29 3 points per possession. And the last time somebody scored that many points was November 29th, 2023. North Carolina did it against Tennessee. It's happened just once per year over the past 3 or 4 years, and none last year. So Tennessee doesn't give up that many points per possession very often. So that's a pretty impressive offensive output by the Illini.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Tell us a little bit more. Where do you think? Because we all know Stojakovic is a good player.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the progress is going on Brad kind of tweaking his priorities a little bit so that an occasional defensive play and a little more intensity on the boards starts showing?
Well, I thought Stojakovic was better in the second half, a little more aggressive. I thought he was better defensively. I mean, he got those 2 quick fouls that made it tough, in the first half. So he played tentative. The other thing I would say so Tennessee, the way they play, they have Ament was the small forward. He's 6'10". Yeah. So they play big. So it allowed you to play Merkovich and Humrickhouse a little bit together, along with Z or Tommy, right? They're coming after me here. But anyway, they had, interestingly enough, I thought was that, they got such, Stojakovic maybe didn't have a great offensive game at times, and he didn't rebound the first half. I thought he showed more in the second half. But what they did, we always talk about Illinois not, doing things defensively and doing the same thing and drop coverage and all that stuff. And they still play drop coverage with Z or Tommy, but you saw them hedge hard with Ben. You saw them hedge hard with both Merkovich at times. And that I think it was impressive what they were able to do. And they also had Ben basically playing center field. And so what happened is that after, let's say he basically didn't have to guard at times. He would just run to a guy. And so when he would run to a guy, what that did was it opened up, that guy wasn't a shooter. And so it made them difficult for them to score. And it also allowed him to recover and still contest a shooter here and there. This was a really important factor of the game, and that allowed him to get those steals. They did some digging, in the post. It made it harder for them to score in the post. So I was, remember the one time I thought the most impressive play Humrickhouse had defensively was when he got stuck on Gillespie and he forced him into a travel, which I never would have expected that to happen a year ago. Let's be honest. So, that was really impressive. And so that was the kind of thing that you want to see from Illinois, be versatile. They changed their defense. We always talk about, we need to make adjustments. We need to do this. They did that tonight. So, let's, a lot of times we get on for, they don't think they adjust enough or did this. Let's also give them their flowers when they do.
Yeah. Brad, here's one. I'm going to give you one. You're right. I've been calling for different sets, and there was the one set where Kylan Boswell had the ball, and they did a slip screen with that dunk for Thomas. I've not seen those. Those are things that I will be honest, I've complained about, and I saw tonight. And a lot of that could have been because they had a week's worth of time to prepare, and that's what they should have done. I think defensively they were a lot better. And I'm going to tell you guys, Tennessee is big. We could talk about rebounding. Some of those kids, Illinois kids, especially Keaton Wagner, who has a baby face, they were bouncing off them like flies. So, I mean, and they're physical, and they just are. So Illinois got a taste of their own medicine, and I'm sorry, I got to do this. The Big Ten got one over the SEC, and I'm always happy about that, baby.
Never a bad thing. Ted, to back up your point, I thought they ran some, they haven't had everybody in practice for a week like this all year. So now they could put some sets in. They can run some different actions. And, you saw the little, even Tommy hitting, how many times did he hit Kylan for cuts there for a little stretch? Then they had a couple times when Tommy hit that. They worked
And that's
on
a big
against
I know Brad cut off. And that's a big
Yeah, I agree. You're exactly right. It's a big part of. Then they were able to find Wagler for the threes, right? And so Tommy passing out of the post. Those are little actions that they were able to take advantage of, and it was really good, really impressive what they did offensively and defensively in this one. And got what is a 14-point win or something? It was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, and I also thought if Tommy's being willing and he valued scoring in the lane early. And when he scores in the lane early and then he goes out and hits a three, holy cow, as a defender, you're in big trouble because he can score on you in the lane. He can pass on you in the lane. He can score from the three and he can pass from the three. I thought he really showed. I mean, if I'm an NBA scout after what I saw tonight, I'm thinking, okay, this guy's there's got to be a place that we can put him.
Yeah, and then he had 0 rebounds in the first half, so they were like, "Wait, okay, maybe not." So no, but you're right.
In the second half,
yeah, he did. No, it's just funny. He took advantage. I think I wrote this after the Alabama game. Remember that when they did not take advantage of those post ups, there were so many times they'd get that mismatch. Well, today when they got the mismatch, they took advantage of it. And somebody's like, well, I had somebody there saying, oh, I didn't like that because, Boswell got a shot blocked that one time. I said, yeah, but he also scored 3 times. He found guys open.
Yeah.
I said, will you take advantage when you hunt those? Like, and Underwood talked about post game, they kind of hunt those mismatches. You run some ball screens and find that mismatch. And, it's the way you find gain an advantage on the offensive end. And then you're going to run some different sets. But then once you get them in that advantage and then they're in a deficit defensively, it's really hard to catch up then. That's when you find wide open threes. And even today, they missed a lot of wide open ones, but, they made enough.
Yeah, they shot the ball well from 3 tonight. I think it was 39% or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's better than what they've had in the past.
Oh, for sure.
Brad, before you got on and you kind of hinted about it, I mean, we all talk about MVPs. My MVP I mentioned was Thomas Law because he gave them that post-up game that gave Keaton and all those guys good looks from open threes because that's a part of their game. And we've all talked about that's the one thing that was missing. And tonight he gave them that different look. He looked a little bit healthier tonight. He's bigger because he's put on weight, but he looked a lot better tonight. He looked like his old self a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing, Ked, was how about the whole center position as a whole when you think about Z hitting those 2 threes as well? Those were huge. And then, Jake Davis coming in and hitting the big 3 and, giving them a little bit of toughness. And those are all those little plays are huge. And it's really fun to see them you see they're still not. Here's the scary part is I don't think they're there where they need to be or where they can be.
Yep. I agree with that totally.
And they're not there. And so there are a lot of things that they did tonight. There were a couple of mistakes. I think, Merck gets a little loose with the ball, but you're starting. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to see what they envisioned when they put this roster together. And you're starting to see everything kind of click and go together. And it's getting close.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a great game from Stojakovic. Petrovic, he shows flashes. I mean, he got into the lane his first drive and missed that layup. I felt like I was watching Curbelo again. But
he's got a little Curbelo in him, doesn't he?
Well, and I mean, but you keep thinking about the what if just because you cannot create that quickness. And you just think like if he and Stojakovic, if you could just get Stojakovic to 14 points a game and Petrovic to 10, this Illini team would be incredibly tougher. So I can see there's as good as this team is, there's still Underwood must look and see that he's got a lot of work here to do in December to really get the most out of this team.
Well,
yeah,
if you think about this,
matchups are going to dictate a lot of it too. When Petrovic goes in and how they match up, and so they've got what I like is they can match up with a lot of different teams in a lot of different ways. It may not be the same guys. I mean, obviously Boswell's going to be out there and all the time, and everybody else at times it might be this guy or that guy, and it can be effective with maybe an oddball lineup at times.
Mike, to your point, you talk about left in the tank. they just missed free throws down the stretch, and Brad was starting to get frustrated with it. So, I mean, this easily could have been a 20-point win. I'm serious. It's just little things that they're starting to figure out. I mean, and the biggest thing is stay healthy. I know that's old school coaches speak, but you can see when this team is healthy what they can potentially be. They're starting to figure it out, and they really shared the ball well tonight. It wasn't just one person. They were all looking. Even when the shots didn't fall, I didn't see anybody really force anything tonight either.
Wasn't it 9 assists on 13 field goals made in the second half? So that's pretty good. 9 assists on 13 field goals was awfully good. I think, how about when Stojakovic missed the dunk? What do you think the stress level on Brad's whoop that he wears on his wrist was? It was like through the roof, right? Blood pressure probably when he missed that dunk. He ran out to half court, but then he was laughing afterwards, but it was still funny.
Well, not only that,
the apology looked heartfelt, didn't it, Ked? He looked like he was seriously sorry.
Well, then Colin goes up and misses the 2 free throws, or missed the free throws, and then that's when you saw Brad get mad again. But, like you said, you know what? It was a much-needed win. Well, I don't know what you guys thought because I don't remember. 2-2 in this non-conference with this schedule was great. And just think, they didn't make free throws. They could be 3-1. The only loss could have been the UConn because I thought they played well against Alabama and they beat Texas Tech. And tonight they got it done again.
Yeah, I agree. And then, you got Ohio State, Nebraska, and Missouri still here in the month of December, along with Southern. But Ohio State, so you got 4 games left, and they're all games they'll probably be favored in. Heading in. So now you just got to go out. You take care of business these 4 games, and suddenly you're 11-2 heading into the January Big Ten schedule, which is until you get to Purdue, I think on January 24th, is really light. I mean, it's every game is winnable, and they might be favored in every single game going forward there for the next month or like 6 weeks or whatever. They also have another week of practice before the Missouri game where they can get right again and do even more. So this is a team they're in a really good place. They just got to take care of business against Ohio State and Nebraska here.
I think the schedule sets up very well. I think for those people who whine about Brad putting too many good teams on the schedule, I fervently disagree because I think you have to play teams like this to get better. And then the other thing is when you break in a couple weeks like this, it allows you to get better, not just by competition, but by having that week where you can really hone your skills and be able to get things rolling. I know one of the things somebody talked about is we did all this without Ty Rodgers and Petrovic, Ty Rodgers' presence, Petrovic knowing what to do. And I would argue Stojakovic is up and down as he's trying to figure things out.
Yeah, and it sounds like Ty Rodgers is feeling like he's going to be back at some point in January. I'm not sure end of January or when that will be, but that's a boost just to get that athleticism out there because, that's another guy who can rebound. That's another guy who can defend. That's another guy who can, handle the ball, can pass, and, gives you, even if it's just for a few minutes a game, that's nice versatility to have coming off your bench. And he knows how to play, too. He's been there, right? Yeah.
And the defense, another stopper. I want that.
Yep.
So, as you went there, any surprises that you got out of tonight's game, Brad, as you were sitting there? Because I got to be honest with you, if you would have told me Illinois was going to win by 13 against Tennessee and be out-rebounded by 14, I would have laughed at you. Yeah, well, and you would have been right to do that. I think the one thing that was interesting was the fans, how many of them were here. It was really on the broadcast. It was really close to 50-50. It may have been 55-45, or 52-48. I don't know how you determine. But the promoter who puts this together, they said that a week ago it was basically 50-50. The tickets sold between Illinois and Tennessee. Now, I think at some point Tennessee probably thought, the SEC title game's that day, and so they didn't buy them early. But then they had a lot of opportunity last week. But but I really thought, I was really impressed with the fan base. It's cool to see Jelly Roll right there. That was nice. But I think maybe except when he's on the broadcast for 20 minutes straight. Good. Hey, Lord. You know what my favorite part was Brett Bielema here. Yeah.
Brett Bielema shows up in a Brad Underwood face on a sweatshirt of Brad looking like he's screaming. It was awesome, and people are taking pictures with him. Really cool to see those guys support each other as they go through this. So, and it does sound like Illinois will be in Nashville in 3 weeks from now, right? So less than a month, November 3rd, December 30th.
Do we think it'll be Tennessee?
I think I think that the push is kind of Missouri.
Okay.
It could be Missouri, could be Tennessee, but I've heard Missouri, but I don't know which one it's going to be. It's probably going to be one of those two. So either way, it's going to be an SEC team. We know that. And, they took care of South Carolina last year. And now, boy, that'd be cool to beat another SEC team in a bowl game. And it should be a pretty great atmosphere. I think Illinois fans will travel for that one too. Coming, because there's no basketball games, and there's a basketball game Monday, the day before, and then come on down and head to the bowl game.
Yeah, man, that would be just unbelievably fun to team that up. And Nashville's such a manageable drive for Illini fans. So,
yeah, and then you got, and of course, it's a busy month in December too. In between the games aren't as much, but then the coaching staff, a couple of them are going to head to Jeff and Orlando Antigua, Jeff Alexander are going to head to Europe the week at middle of December. Before the Missouri game.
I wonder why.
So, yeah, you're going to make some stops, and so forth, and then. I think we, get them. Then you got the Missouri game, and it could be a lot of fun around Christmas time. Who knows what could happen?
And just as people are noting, Ohio State's down 13-10, missed a point blank field goal. So with limited time left, Indiana's got the ball, and with 2:48 left, I believe Ohio State has 2 timeouts. But there's a chance that Ohio State could be the not be the number one team going into the CFP. So there's an interesting curveball that almost nobody had.
I was just getting ready to say that, Mike. You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm watching it. My son right now just sent me a text, and I can't even remotely say it. I'd be fired all over the place. He is hot because nobody expected that. Nobody expected Purdue to go have what happens to them today. I'm telling you, Indiana's tough. Think about it. We saw both teams. And Illinois didn't have a chance against Indiana. If they didn't turn the ball over in good field position, they remotely had a chance against Ohio State. Indiana's different. It's that year, and you have to give them credit because I tell you what, that's a big win. Ohio State's been number one on pretty much all year, not all season, but pretty much. And then Indiana to go to beat them, that's a big win.
Yeah, and then you think about this. This is. Where does Ohio State end up? Probably 3 then. Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Indiana 1. Or maybe they go to 2. I don't know how they'll do it, but I'd say Georgia's probably 2, or Ohio State 3, and then you Texas Tech 4. But that creates a pretty wild potential for Texas Tech, Indiana in a semifinal potentially. Obviously, you got to win some games to get there, but win a game to get there. But Texas Tech probably has to beat Oregon, but. And then you could have Ohio State and Georgia. That's like the blue blood central, national title.
You could just that's the thing about the CFP playoff, and it's why I'd like them to go to 16 games. But you just look at the schedule, and it's just it makes you salivate because it's like these are like it's like having fillets every game.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, what if it's Alabama and Oklahoma or Notre Dame or something like that in that 8-9 game?
Yeah,
and the winner gets Indiana. Indiana's got to play the first round. They have to play Alabama in the first round. And I know Alabama looked like crap today, but they also beat Georgia in Athens earlier this year. So they're not it's a tough draw. Those are awesome games. They're so much fun. Can't wait.
I don't want to see Indiana get screwed over. They're ranked. They're second in the country right now. The Big Ten's a powerhouse. They deserve to be number one to get the number one seed. So I would be upset if I saw Georgia jump them. But
I don't think they will.
No, I think Indiana's won. I think automatically.
You can't beat number one and get jumped with number 2.
I've seen stranger things in the SEC. Well, I don't know, man. I don't. You wouldn't think so, but you know what? What if it happened? I wouldn't be surprised. But it shouldn't.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, boys.
Now, yeah, well, guys, real quick though, before you leave, what Illinois can't do, you can't go lose to Missouri now. You have to finish this. I mean, there's games before then, but you have to finish this non-conference strong, and then take care of whatever you can take care of in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think it's really important. They got to really focus on the Ohio State next week. Ohio State obviously won at Northwestern already today, so this is going to be I know they were already watching film today earlier to watch a little bit of that game. So this is a game that they got to find a way to take care of business on the road again. And this is like Ked, you're right. This month is big for setting up for what they can be, because I think they win these next 4 games, because Southern is a gimme, right? They win the next 4 games, and you're moving up. You're probably you're probably sitting as a 2 or 3 in the NCAA tournament seeding. I mean, that's where you want to be.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was my thought. That's why this win was so big tonight. I agree, Bradley.
Yeah, I got to be honest. It scares me a little bit, but I see from the last couple of weeks. Now I know each team you could pick out one game and go, well, Illinois is not that good, or Purdue's not that good. But I think Michigan's really kind of maybe set themselves up, at least early on, to be the team to beat, with that performance of beating 2 top 12 teams by a combined 70 points back-to-back days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you what was disappointing to Illinois fans who watched that game. Watching Morez hit that 3, I thought,
he went 2 for 2 from the 3.
Yeah, I know. I know the Illinois fans. Some of them, they won't admit it, but I know that hurt watching it.
I love really Morez, good. I love Morez.
Morez he's a great kid, great player. I'm happy for him. The other thing is, though, in the first half, how many Illini fans were losing their minds saying, if we just had Morez to rebound.
Oh, well, you know what?
And there are probably 3 of them on this podcast.
he might have, with the poor shooting that Tennessee had, Morez might have had 10 rebounds by the half, and that's just defensive.
For some reason, when he played for Illinois, though, he probably would have had 6 fouls. Too. They called him for a foul every time. They always called him for a foul.
That seems to happen to Illinois guys in their freshman year. It seems to be like some sort of like agreement amongst the Big Ten referees, and I guess I shouldn't have said that, because they've done pretty well this year with their freshmen, but it seems like there's always one that gets that treatment.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, it's late here on a Saturday night. Brad, thanks for coming on here. Folks, we wanted to have Marcus on. He was trying, but he is actually coaching his team in a tournament this weekend, and the signal inside of the restaurant that they're eating at as they finish their games was not good, so he could not get through. But we'll have him on whenever we can. And I want to finish with one thing, since there's some people who really get mad at me for talking about Signetti, but the reason why we talk about Signetti in Indiana is because we get a lot of comments like this, and I'm not gonna. I never use the word acceptable, but yeah, I never thought Indiana would make it further than Illinois more quickly, which is a tribute to Signetti as a coach, his ability to draw money in, and his ability to identify talent when he's spending that money.
Yep.
So it is what it is. Then we'll have to see if Ohio State will get one more shot at the ball. But folks, we will be back. Illinois plays on Tuesday at Ohio State. So most likely, because we still have to look at our crazy schedules, most likely we'll do a halftime show, and we will also do a post-game show. But until then, folks, go to IlliniGuys.com for all your Illini information. And, of course, go Illini.